What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. This is Naeem from Bass Brothers Fishing DMV, doing a special video today on the Elco 5 horsepower all-electric motor, installing it on a John boat. But I wanted to do a video on this specifically because quite frankly, I don't see a lot on YouTube on this motor, much less the wiring, and not so much the wiring of the actual battery to motor, because that's very simple, and that's one of the things that Elco promotes, is the simplicity of the install of their products. But more importantly, I'm doing this video to demo how to install the battery monitor. Now, there are some videos out there on how to wire the battery monitor, but not when it comes to the Elco motor. So I want to do a demo of that today. This is not intended to be a long video, but I just want this to be effective and help some people out there. So we've got three parts: the Elco motor, the battery monitor, and also the onboard charger. Here's the motor right here. I've already cracked it open. I'm going to open this up. The battery charger is the Elco Genius GX2440. That was recommended by Elco. And this is the battery monitor, also recommended by Elco. This is the BMV 700. So let's get into the motor. I definitely agree with what Elco promotes. They have a very simple setup. So if you're not very electrically inclined, this may be a way for you to go. Once you crack this thing open, so you've got your motor, tiller handle, of course you've got your manual right here, you've got your safety cord right here, spare fuses, and an extra connector right here. This is just some advertising for them. Don't really need that. Got a Phillips head screwdriver right here that they supply. Definitely one of the benefits of having an electric outboard motor is simplicity. It's not a whole lot that you have to connect and read and know about, compared to a gas outboard motor where you have a lot more moving parts. Okay, and here we have the battery monitor. This is kind of the tricky part to the deal. One of the important parts about this monitor is this shunt right here. You'll need to make sure that this is hooked up properly. And what Elco did, they will actually sell you this completely assembled for you. So this is the shunt that's right here. What they've done is created all the wiring for it, tin copper terminals, heat shrunk, connected to the connectors that actually work for their batteries. And I'll explain what this is for in a second. This is the battery that's gonna run the motor. This is purchased from Elco as well. This is a 24 volt, 120 amp lithium battery. It comes with its own power meter, so that's cool. It's built right into the battery casing. You don't have to buy an external battery meter. I love the fact that everything is built into this one battery and the connectors are already on here. And then we've got the onboard charger down here. All of this stuff, we're gonna bring it all together in this video. Got the motor on here. It's a perfect match for this 1232. You can see the prop is just below the bottom of the boat. The prop will be fully submerged, but it's not sticking out so far down that you're adding a lot more risk to running aground with your prop. I can see where it's wet right here. One thing I learned is that Elco tests out every single motor in the tank before they ship them out. So when you get it, you may have some water residue or some drippings of water or whatnot. And pretty simplified. I love a simplified approach. I hate getting something and then I have to read a 20-page manual before I even get to use it. So right off the bat, you've got your main plug for power. This will plug to the battery. You've got your on and off switch, forward and reverse. You've got your safety latch right here. Of course, if you fall off the boat, this pops off and shuts down the motor. Here's your tilt switch. You've got a lock position right there. And you've got your tilt position up here. Push it to the tilt position and it tilts all the way up. Well, different levels. You can tilt it to different levels depending on what you're doing. But this thing tilts all the way up. To release the tilt, you have this lever right here. Lift this lever, goes all the way back down. Lock it back into place. I think I forgot to mention the tiller handle. This actually gets screwed with the hole of the tiller handle underneath. So that way your readout shows you're at 0 right now and up to max. One more feature I want to show you guys is this pin right here. You can adjust the trim of your motor by just sliding this out and moving it in whatever slot angles your motor at the angle that you want. Pretty cool, really simple to do. You have a little lever on the back if you want to remove the top case. One thing I noticed, they definitely used heavy gauge wire. I believe this is Anchor Marine wiring. This is 2 gauge wiring, so very thick, strong wiring. Can handle a lot of power without overheating. All tin copper, very, very good hardware inside this box. If you weren't going with the battery monitor, to unbox this thing and get it on your boat, all you need is your battery, your motor, and these battery cables. I forgot to mention the tiller handle in the unboxing. Let's get these connected, get this connected. These things connect really easy. Plugs go right in together. Got the battery hooked up, got our tiller handle down, safety latches in. Let's give it a quick test. Let's turn this on. You hear a click, that means power's going to the motor. Push forward and we'll turn our tiller handle. Definitely a plug and play scenario. So if you didn't have this battery monitor, that would be it. Install the motor on the boat, connect the battery, and you're off and running. All right, so now let's get down to wiring the battery monitor. Now, this shunt comes with this. So it's already installed. Again, the Elco people took care of that, which is perfect. It makes it a plug and play system still and maintains the integrity of all the connections. But just to go through the motions and show you what comes in the box, you've got your manual. This thing comes in like 10 different languages. You've got your quick installation guide right here. And it basically just shows diagrams. Not a lot of wording to this thing, but we're gonna be going with this setup right here, which is one battery. This shunt can handle a multiple battery system, but we don't have to do that. So that's your quick start guide. This is your data cable that runs to the actual monitor. We've got your decorative faceplate for this. And you've got another data cable right here. This actually allows the monitor to read the status of the battery. And you wanna be careful and be mindful of this, take good care of it. You can see a little open circuit board right there. And it's fused, got a nice Blue Sea Systems fuse block right here. And this is 2-gauge wire, very, very thick wire. I mean, it looked like you could run a bus on this thing. This is interesting. It took me a while to kind of figure out what this is for and how it applies to this system. So because you have closed off connectors, everything that connects together is a closed off connection, meaning you can't tap into it. You can't connect other things to it like a battery terminal. They connected this for your convenience. And I think this is really clever of them to do it. So for this system, I'll be connecting the data cable that reads the battery to the positive on here. And I'll also be connecting the onboard charger to this as well. All right, because you can't tap into the actual battery with these connectors to charge it. I'd say the only downside to this right here is the weight. With such big wires, this alone weighs 5.5 pounds. So if weight is an issue, and weight is an issue for both this size. This is a 1232, trying to keep this very light. A challenge with installing this will be placement in the boat. I'm gonna place it on this side because the left side will have the onboard charger and it'll be on a panel. I've got 3 things to secure: the shunt, the fuse block, and these auxiliary terminals. A couple of things I want to point out about this shunt. Only the negative ground wires goes to the shunt. On the shunt, you have a battery side and you have a load side, load and charger. And it's labeled for you so you don't make the mistake. What that means is the only ground that connects to this side of the shunt is a direct ground to the actual battery. Do not connect any other ground to this side but what goes to the battery. All your other grounds have to be connected to this side no matter what it is. So in this case, this side will go to the motor because it's connected to this right here. This is the quick connect piece that connects to the motor. And again, the way Elco set this up, which is a really good thing, is they've connected a secondary ground wire, which is right in here. It's this one right here. This secondary wire is what goes to this right here. This is just a rubber covering that protects the wiring. Once you pull it off, this is what you'll see underneath. So you can connect anything you want to this ground right here. That gives you a lot more flexibility than trying to connect things directly to this shunt, which I wouldn't do. You want to keep this isolated and its own unit. And this power side, which works similar to the ground, we'll receive power connecting from the battery. This will connect to the battery, and here's your auxiliary power cord that connects to this side. So here's where I will connect anything else that I want to have power from this battery. In this case, I'm keeping this whole unit back here isolated to the motor. So the only thing I'm connecting to this power port is this onboard charger, and of course the sensor wire that comes with the monitor. Okay, Those two things will be connected here. There we go, that's there. This will just snap in here. The positive and negative cables were connected together with the electrical tape. I disconnected that so that I could run the wires, separate the wires a bit and run them a little more custom to the setup of this boat. I will retape them together once I get the final placement of these wires. So I realized that it's good to have, for example, this taped up together. That way it takes the stress off of the wire going into the connector. The second thing I did was I turned the shunt the other direction, and I did that because I didn't want the circuit board facing up. If any water drips down in this boat, I don't want it landing on the circuit board. That just doesn't sound like a good idea at all. This shunt does not have a cover for it, so it is exposed. And I'm also trying to install it as far towards the corner of the boat as I can. So I loosened it up so the terminals can move freely and take some of the stress off of the wire itself. I'll probably leave this facing down because if it goes that way, it's hitting the side of the boat and will stress the wire. I'm gonna drill this side in, tighten up this side, and this will be installed. I've already got the sensor wire plugged in underneath and the data cable plugged in underneath as well. If I ever need to unplug it, I can easily just feel the latch right here and unplug it, just like that. Comes out pretty easy. Another reason why I loosened this up is so that I could gain access to mount the shunt into the side of the boat. Before, the wire was going completely across the hole and I wouldn't be able to get the drill in to be able to do that. So, that's gonna be perfect. So this will go to the battery just like this. I'll move these cables under here as best as possible because I want to make this usable space as much as possible without impairing any of this electrical stuff here. So unfortunately I have to loosen up these as well in order to be able to mount this to the boat. I got to get these terminals out the way. Alright, so we got this side pretty much done. Joined up the wires together underneath the decking to hide it as much as possible. This will connect to the outboard motor. Now that we got the cables in place, you take the original battery cables and plug them in. And these are all quick connects, so it works really easy. That clicks in nice and easy. Just make your connections. Just like that. Now we need to get power to the sensor wire. And again, this is what this auxiliary piece is for right here. If you need any positive or negative wiring, it'll go here. I'll also connect the onboard charger up. I'll connect up the power to the sensor wire, just running it through this. Got everything hooked up. I'm very happy about that. And as you can see, the readout is in setup mode right here. I don't know if you guys can see that, it says setup. So in the end, I've got my fuse block right there and I've got the shunt under here, this cable right here. Again, on the shunt, only the battery connects to the side that says battery. Make sure you get it right. It's marked battery, so make sure you go straight from the battery to that side of the shunt. All other ground leads come off of the other terminal of the shunt. So one side is dedicated for the battery and the opposite side is for anything else you're putting a negative ground to for this battery. As I mentioned, what Elco did was attached an auxiliary ground cable. I have it running all the way over here. I am doing a full jump boat conversion, so if you clicked on this video just to see the connection of this battery, you can view the playlist, link at the top of the screen. Check out that full playlist. This is what we do. So the last thing I'll do, just to demo the wiring, is bring the motor back onto the boat, connect it up, and make sure it still runs. All right. All working. There we go, guys. Everything is up and running. Really hope this video helps a lot of people out there that are trying to research this and learn how to make these connections themselves. That's exactly why I put this video out there as just a separate standalone video. Wiring this shunt and this monitor, there are several videos out there that show you how to wire it, period. But for Elco, it's a different kind of setup because they've customized wires to work with this. With that being said, I'm gonna get back to converting this boat. Leave us a like, tap that subscription button. Again, if you're interested, playlist below to the conversion of this boat. As always, guys, stay safe out there. We'll see you on the next video.